Well, hello everyone. This is Big Mama, and I just finished my May Mish Mash Use Up Our Stash for May of 2024, which was a Dear Julie challenge. And I am so excited to bring you this layered journal. I've got my notes right here so that I can remember a few of the titles of the page ensembles and the elements that I made. But she wanted us to use different panels from to create layers of different sizes for our journal that she had seen on Amity Bloom's channel. And so I absolutely love this journal. I'll probably try and sell it, but this one will be you're prying it out of my hands type of journal, because I really like the feel of it. I'm always wanting to create something that looks like it was sitting in grandma's trunk up in the attic, and you open the lid of the trunk and you hear these layers of books and notes and her hankies and old lace and things. And so I think that that's what this journal looks like, something that you would have found in sitting in there with all the layers. I have been blessed to have some old antique book covers that a friend of mine had destashed. Her name is Susan Taylor Brown, and so I had several books that just had the covers that I did not feel guilty about getting because they had already lost their innards. And so then on the back here, I also made a cover that was out. I look up here because that's where I store my cardboard boxes. And so this was a cereal box that I had a couple of layers of the cereal box, and then I put brown paper sack on. After I did the brown paper sack, I did all of my inks to get the color I wanted, and then went over it with a gilding wax to give it a shimmer to it, so that I had some mica, which everything is going to start with an M of the challenge. And so mica, it was one of the added bonuses that we could use. And so the shimmer, and I've got on a lot of the pages, like the picture here on the front, I put her on some cardboard that was off of the same cereal box, and have that where there is some mica in there and some gold ink. So the digitals that I used, one of the digitals that Julie has is called the Victorian Edwardian Ladies postcards. And so I had gone ahead and just, I don't like to mass make anything, but I had some coffee dyed and tea dyed index cards. And so I was able to just take and glue those on and have them prepped and ready to go to put in pockets when I needed. So here are 4 of them. And you saw the lady on the front is one of them. And so we were supposed to use 10 pages and supposed to use the whole bit of the 10 pages. So I needed to use one page that had the 4 ladies on it. And then we were using up our stash, and one of the biggest things that I have is my scraps. And so that's what these flowers are, is I made rosettes out of my scraps of paper, and then used some metallic paint and went over them to make them look metal. And then I put some little rhinestones in the center of them. And I put lace up underneath the cardstock here around the edge, and then also put brads in there, and then glued it to the front of the book page. And here on the binding, I have the lace, and there's also material that has been sewn in there, and also another piece of lace. And then over the top of the stitching, I put this lace, and then inked it up to match the rest of like the lace here and the lace hanging down here. I wanted all the colors to flow. This seam binding is from Penny Pudge. I love her seam binding. I buy it by the yards, and she does an excellent job of taking and coffee dyeing it. And she does with eco dyeing, she will do your avocado. And so what I did was I just took two of them, and then a piece of the lace, and for the area that is in the back and around the side, I zigzagged them together where it's in like a loose braid, and zigzag that together. But then where it ties, I wanted it to be open so that the bow is flowing when I wrap it around. So that is how I am holding it closed. Here in the front also I have some mesh, some lace, and you'll see that I use that mesh throughout the journal also, because I like for my journals to be cohesive, that what I'm using one place is going to be used throughout the journal. So let's let this little gal open up her garden. I do need to tell you that the other digital that I'm using is Julie's new digital that she had for the month of May, which is called Mama's Rose Garden. And so it's just, it's very beautiful. She also had some freebies throughout the month that was very, very connected to it, using words in a freebie. This is one of my mistake pages where it was printing lines. The original digital does not have that. So this is Mama, Big Mama. But I did use this. One of the M's is mistake, and so I used, I had 2 pages that I printed, and they both came out that way. So change the ink. Here we go. The inside cover, I made a lace pocket. One of the M's was for us to use a Memorex, let me see here on my list, Memorex or Rolodex card. And so I took the digital and put on there of the postcard, and then this is just off of the edge of some paper. And I love using, there's my pen, you can't see it anymore. This is my Elegant Writer. It did say a one-time Elegant Writer on there, and when you get it wet, you can see how it bleeds out those different colors. And depending upon the paper, you can get blues and purples and even sometimes pink. If it's been an eco-dyed paper with like coffee or tea, the blues will bleed out into a pink color, which I really, really like. But this is something I like. It may be something that other people go, well, why did you ruin that? But here's one that is not inked. For those who can't handle it, there's something for both of you. And then I also did, I hope that you can see that I did some German glass glitter on here with some, I used glossy accent and added that into it. Teaching myself patience, because I want to just keep moving through and getting it done. But glossy accent has a way of saying, look, you're not going to push me. And believe me, glossy accent will have its own way. Trust me, you can have more fingerprints in your art than you want, but then you can prove it was yours. So here is her digital for the Rose Garden. And I printed it with some book page, and the lines go this way, but it's very, very faint. Then here we were to use mail, and so I had an old antique letter that I just split open. So this is an envelope, and so it still has who it was to, and this is part, there was a page that had, this isn't the page, but you can see where they have all kinds of little things around it. And so on that page, I needed to use every bit of it. And so what I did was I glued this to some cardstock, and then did glossy accent over the top of it, no glitter though, and made that as a little top, I call it a top tuck, but I guess if you go all the way through, that's a belly band. And so this was another card that was off of that same page, and did the glitter, the German glass is on this one. Some of them I used a regular glitter, and others I used the German glass. And it just depended on how patient I wanted to be. Because when you use German glass, you want to have a little bit thicker glossy accent. So this element here, I made it to where it was one of the flip-flops where you can grab a hold of this, and when you open it like this, the rest of it opens too. And so this one was with my measuring tape. So I put the measuring tape on here and did some hand stitching on it and used the antique lace on here for the edging. Have a little place where you can still journal. And then on the back side of it, I use some, I think this was the folder that I had used. And so then the digital comes open like this, and I put a tag in there, but I wanted to cover my brad, and so I had this beautiful flower embroidered. And so I didn't like the colors on it, so I went back with my inks and changed the colors to match the page. And then it is covering up the back side of the brad. And this brad here is, and I just took some old black and white pictures that I had. And these are not anyone I know. This came from an auction. And Big Daddy likes to do some of those online auctions for me. And so he got me some postcards in these pictures. And so this actually is not a pocket, but a drop down. So we needed a moving mechanism. So this is my movement. I think that's what it's called. A motion element or an item that moves. And so this, I put glossy accent on, and it moves. And then I put a piece of the measuring tape here, and this then drops down, and you have the mystery spot on this one is a writing space that looks like a pocket, but it's not. And I will take up more of your time putting everything back, and so that might be the last time I put things back. But then I also just used up my stash of my scraps and just started adding scraps in here so that you have some writing spaces here to use. And then through the hole here, there's a lady on the internet who Kathleen Maurer, and she takes and weaves her threads and stuff through like this. And so I went through one side one way and then went from the back side back up rather than bring it up around, because I wanted to have the ends on each end. So I cut the first one rather than weave it back through like she does. I just did one down on one side and then one down from the other side to create that. And then this is a tip in that I did on here using the yeah, I love washi tape, and now I couldn't remember its name. Oh, please, Mr. Washi, forgive me. And so this was a book page at the end of a book, or at the beginning of a book where someone gave it as a gift, and so I put that in here. And then another one of the black and white pictures, only just for fun, because I have put a paper clip in there, and paper clips have to be used. So I have that. But then this also, I used a lot of those ends of the books. This one had a lot of words on it, and so I just took my masking tape and took the words off. But then that flips up, and here's a page that had a little word on it, Worcestershire sauce. Who doesn't want that in your journal? And then this one just had a little page number on it. And so you've got a waterfall there. And then on the other side is the back of that envelope. And that is just so vintage looking, all on its own. I couldn't bring myself to do anything. And so I thought, well, this would be a great place to put my paper clip. So we were to make a masterboard, which is another M. And from my masterboard, we were to do messy thread. And so I used the very smallest remnant that I had of my masterboard. And I had already done the masterboard, so I stitched around the scrap. And then I took this piece of paper and put it on the paper clip and then glued my masterboard to that piece of paper to attach it. And then I went around with that gold ink around the edge because I love having those little zigzag edges look like it's a trim instead of just zigzagging. And then on the messy thread, so the masterboard is part of it, the ink is part of it, and then I put this button on the front, and when I sewed the button onto the paper clip through the messy thread, that's what attached all of that together to the paper clip, making that paper clip out of my masterboard. And then this is another piece of the masterboard. And so on the back side, I glued it to a index card, and then I stamped it here and then used my washi tape here and stamped over it to make it look like it was a postcard. So that's how I did that. All right, and so then on this back side of the digital, kind of tore it, so did some taping on it and had some washi here that looked kind of cute and put that on there. That in 16 minutes was my first signature. Are you still here? Let's have a sip of coffee, okay? Couldn't find a cup that looked really good with this outfit, so because you guys blessed me so much, I thought, there's my cup. Okay, so is this not amazing? Look at that water damage on that cover and everything. You know the book was a mess before it got taken apart, demolished. How's that? Demolished work for me. All right, so on the other side of this page, I have, this is another one of the Victorian Edwardian ladies. And I took the mesh, before I glued her down, I poked 2 holes, brought the mesh up, and tied the bow over because this had the bow. And so I put the mesh on there. And then I got a little bit crazy with my not glossy accent, the enamel that you're, see, now I can't even find my words. Okay, when I find it, I'll go, the word. Okay, but you use the heat gun, and yeah, that turned out a little bit too thick, and so I colored in the rest of the bow, because you can see they are this black and white, and so yeah, she's not, but I wasn't going to throw it away, and so I went ahead and did that. Put her some little things on the corner here and turned her into a pocket. So again, I was using my cereal box as my backing, and then turned her into a belly band. And because we're supposed to use up those digitals, there was a page of the digital that is postcards. And so this one, when they're on the page, there's an edge that's a short edge. So this is the short edge where the stamp is, it would have been probably this long, but the stamp is lost in the translation, which I still think is perfect because I didn't have to cut it down. It fit just perfect inside that for my page. So I'm okay with it. So yeah, zigzagged around it. And this is for those who don't like the gold. I'm trying to put something in here for everyone, because there are people out there that just like different. And so anyway, went around the edge of that with just the ink to edge it. So here you can see where I went around this one with my elegant writer, and it's got the gold around the edge on here. This one's got nothing. So there's something there for everyone. This is a pocket that I did using the digital, put the messy thread on here, and I have some fabric lace on here. I also backed this with some cardstock so that the lace is not up against the... This is an actual postcard that I'm putting in here. 1908. So there you go. So whoever gets this journal gets a postcard, but somebody wanted the stamp, so sorry about that. But they look so yummy in that spot, just had to leave them. All right, so this, we were supposed to use magazine, and this is, I had an Etude, I think is how you pronounce it, E-T-U-D-E, magazine from 1905, and so I took a page out of it that just had the articles and no pictures. And so this is the actual page, and because the page is old, I didn't want it to crumble or anything. So on this side of the page, I took and added from an old, let's see if I can get it for you, another gift. This is from the First National Bank and of Salina, Kansas, and it is a U.S. zip codes. And so I took a page out of it and used Heat and Bond Light, ironed it to here, so that reinforced this so that it doesn't crumble, and put that in there. It reinforced the spine with some washi tape. And then up here at the top, I have this to where you can use that as journaling. And here I wanted to add some journaling spots, but when I added the notebook paper and I wanted the lines to go this way, it was a bit shy of coming all the way across. So I took this paper that has the... See, are you guys still hanging in there with me? Scrapbook paper. I took the scrapbook paper and just sandwiched the edge of this in there, and so then it's just the art, and I wanted you to have a place to write, so I took another scrap of paper and put that, because it was just that wide, and so I put the scrap there and then added this tatting to it so that you have that spot. And then on the other side, I just wove in the embroidery floss. So you've got that writing space. And so I took 2 sheets. So this is how wide the paper would have been. So the other half of this sheet is back here. We'll get to it. And then I have this grid paper that is plain on one side, grid on the other. We were supposed to use map, and so I used out of an old atlas that I have. I used that, and it drops down for you to have a writing spot. Here is the map that backs it. And so using all of that digital, this was one of the things on the digital too, this little card, and I put that glossy accent and then the German glass on it, and then inked up this page. And the reason why I did that on this yellow paper is because I thought that it kind of gave the look of the map, like the ocean and everything. So that's why I did that, to add it with the map. On the other side of the page, I backed with some Sarita paper, and this is my, well, it may not be my material page. It could be my material, no, mesh. This, we were supposed to use mesh. And this lace, you can see, has got that mesh in between. And so I did a double pocket for the center here. And I love this mesh because you can see through it. And this is, again, part of my masterboard. And so I did some tags for the masterboard, and then some rub-ons here on the corners. and went around the edge with that elegant writer. I keep forgetting, I had to flip my camera because when the camera is the other way, I get upside down, and it used to be that the camera was over there and it's over here now. And so if I'm like looking over there and I'm not paying attention to you guys, don't be looking over there to see if there's squirrels. Look over here with me. Look at the book. So this is, I left this edge as a flip up and used again some of the digital on there to make a little tab. And then there's the back side of that paper like I did to the front, but this time I took the little flappies off because I didn't find a scrap long enough, but I found one wide enough. And so what I did here is just cut that pretty edge, and then I folded this so that you know it opens up, and you've got that journaling spot too. And so that's just on the edge there. I believe a journal should have journaling spots. Okay, so this is my page. I like to always add little itty bitty envelopes in there so that you can have little treasure spots. And so on this one, there was a paper that I had that had the word friendship on it. And so I put that. And the reason why I did was I thought how cool it would be for you to just write, like maybe your grade school friends or your neighborhood friends where you were growing up, put their names on there. And that way you've just got a treasure spot that holds, and it's something simple like that. Just names on there is a great little thing for you to do for journaling. Here, this page is my material. So I had a hanky that, because remember the magazine page is fragile. So I did the hanky on here with the heat and bond, and that creates that strength for me. And then when I brought it around, I wanted to put a little edge on there. So I took some of my paper scraps and embroidered the vine, and then went back and French knot for the roses to carry in the theme with those roses, and put lace on here. And then this butterfly where the two pieces come together, I wanted to cover up that gap, so I put a butterfly there. But that butterfly then is also just the perfect little spot to hide your friends. And so you've got a little hidden treasure up in there that is for your precious babies to find. And again, a journaling card that is a postcard that you've got now inside that pocket. And this is, I just wanted to leave that page because I thought that magazine page, and so I did some gold splatter on there. Susan Gasway, if you haven't seen her channel, please go. I call her Splatters because and she'll tell you who it was that does the splatters, but this Susan Splatters, she just has so much fun with it that she's made me addicted now to my splatters. Next, the book cover here, it was green. I'm going to confess, I started messing with it, and then I ended up putting some of the modeling, that plaster on there, and started adding inks, and the more I added, the more red it went. And so I embraced it. This is my metal page. These are metal hearts that are out of copper that Susan Taylor Brown had sent me. And so I thought, well, this will be my metal. And then here, the way I did her is I backed her on the plastic, and then I put lace on the back of it here so that it just causes a little bit of elegance for that plastic for the pocket, because I didn't want her to get torn being a pocket by herself. And so that acetate will help to reinforce my little gal here. And my masterboard is to be used throughout, and so there it is. Trying to keep with the challenge. And then I added this lace on the bottom, and it was a creamy colored lace, but I wanted to add a little bit more color, so I just inked it up. And then here on this digital page, I just left it because this is the section that I have my math, And so this piece of lace here is glued to the book cover on this side and then brought around behind, and it is sewed then to the piece of lace that is the binding for my spine. So that is how these are attached. This is a wallpaper scrap that I just did some rub-ons on, and then on the other side of it I did math belly bands. And so this is my math page here, and it was, the math is actual, and I thought it was a cool page because I didn't even compute math with music. And so there is the math and math here, and some more of this page is in here. And so I thought that was cool to be able to do those two belly bands, and used up the rest of that on the postcards. And then on that other page, this digital of the postcard, what I did was I just attached it to a scrap of paper to make it a little tiny notebook for you. And then again, like I said, I really like going around the edges and doing that on the edges with the gold pin. Some ledger for math. And then here I left this so that it would be a journaling spot, and printed it on ledger. And then here, no, I didn't print it. I glued it to ledger, sorry. Don't want to get that one wrong. What I did was I printed this, and then after I printed it, I put some ledger in the printer, and I copied the ledger onto there. That's how I did that one. And then here is some more of her digital, and I went around this where there's gold. That was actually a white edge between the flower and that, and so I filled in the white edge with gold pen. And did the same on that side. And then some more of the ledger, but I left the ledger long and added to it this digital on the edge to use up the last of that page. And then I also made a little tab there using the digital. And this is part of her Friday freebie, and I used the words of that Friday freebie throughout with some glossy accent on it. And then we were supposed to use a manila envelope, and so I had a long manila envelope about this long, that wide, well, this wide. And so what I did with it is I flipped up half of it this way, and then used the edge of the envelope, the flap here, and made it a tuck there. But I also, where I have the lace, I made it to where this tucks up underneath the lace so that you've got writing space there, and that just tucks underneath the lace so it doesn't go all the way into the flap of the envelope. But this is a little pocket on the edge. And then this tab was, if you can see that there's the flap here, when I turn the flap up, this, I cut this to be a tab out of the other half of this edge. So that is, the tab is made out of the envelope. Then on this one, because I've split the envelope open, then this comes up and down. And so what I did here was, with her digital, I just made that a little tuck in here, fussy cutting all the way around, and then gluing it to make a pocket. And then this is where we were supposed to use makeup. And so if you can see this pretty little gal, I put makeup, fill all of the flowers in here around with makeup, and there's makeup here. I used gold pin and gave her a necklace, and that's makeup, the blue makeup. And then I added these butterflies. I've got some mesh. I don't know if you can see that is mesh with my lighting. My light up here, it gave me a flicker and it died, so I can't add that. But then I went around the edge here with some eyeliner and rubbed it. So, and then the butterfly. You know, I have to confess, when I was putting on some stuff, I got a makeup mishap. And so I went to rub it off, and I forgot that this is digital glued to the index card. And so it kind of tore my digital butterfly. So, you know, I can't do one. I've got to do three. And so I put the butterfly over the flaw and then added these two little ones that just happened to vary in size. So I was able to add all three of them to that and fix my mistake. So there you go. I ratted myself out, and then I did the stamping here on this, and she goes in that, and it is a flip up so that you have some more journaling spot, but that doesn't really have to have a, when it's sitting here, it doesn't have to have anything to hold it. All right, and then the last side of it, I put the digital here, and I cut along the roses, did some glossy accent with some glitter this time, and then this one has glossy accent with glitter. I made a little notebook. I made a small video showing that when I glued these down, and I just went back around the edges. I didn't really think that was enough, so I did my hole punch and punched out of the scrap some of these roses and just glued them then into the circles. Someone said in the comment, Andrea, I'm not ratting you out, that a smart person might have, she said she's lazy, she would have just flipped that down over and had that over the paper, which would have been smart. But I had already glued it down and decided that just wasn't what I wanted. What could I do to fix it? And so this is how I fixed it. But she's right. The smart person would have put that piece of paper in there. But there you go. I'm not smart. On this edge, I just put some scrap, and then here, you got fill up that hole, and there you go. You got your little notebook that slips down in there. Then here, okay, this I just used the Elegant Writer, went through there, and then see what I mean when I'm talking about the color? See those pinks and purples? This old paper took that Elegant Writer and water, totally different. And then here on this side, I printed on, this is the digital, and then I printed it again and cut it out, and then made a belly band tuck with, and this was my masking tape, where I just went around a packaging tag, and I went around with the masking tape, and because of the texture of the masking tape, it'll take alcohol ink, where if this had just been regular paper, torn paper, alcohol ink wouldn't have spread. And so with the alcohol ink, I was able to drop in the greens and the reds and get the colors that I wanted, and then I went back with a pit pen and drew in the details, and some gold paint I splattered, but I also went back with the gold pen and went in the center of my flowers too. And I have a little bit of blue up here, and then the greens. And so then on the back of my tag, I did book page and a notebook page for a journaling tag. And then this again is her digital, and for the brads, because I didn't want the prongs to stick out, I just did gold thread French knots to make brads in there. that I keep forgetting the camera's over here. So there you go, French knots. That's how I did that. And we were supposed to do a magnet. So there I had some Stride chewing gum, and they closed the package with magnets. And so I covered the magnet with washi tape and put one on here, and that's the way they close. And so there is my magnet. And what I like about putting this here is when you're journaling, you might want to put a special note right there, and you're covering up that special note. And you can also write something special on here. So that might be where you put those passwords for the computer. I don't know. And I think I just lost my passwords. I threw them over there. There you go. Other half of that digital page. Some more of that. And then here, I flip this one out. And then we have some scraps. And I'm not exactly sure if... Hey, wait. Mistake. That's my mistake page. See the lines that printed on here? Yeah, they're not supposed to be there. Yeah, there they go. They're going this way. So that's what I did with my mistake page. And I put a button on there and went around the edge and put on some book page and made it a flip out. And then on this, I made a mechanism with... I found out you weren't supposed to do it on the actual cover, so that's why I did the other one where it hides the flip up, flip down. But this mechanism, I made a door that opens, and then she has a pocket here that has the rest of that digital, and it is a journaling card that goes down, and then that is the last of the ladies that are on that card. And then I used a magnet here because I thought I could put it all on one page. And messy bow, so magnet, messy bow, mechanism. I learned a lot in this, but you know what, I think it all still went together beautifully. So the magnet does hold the door closed, and see my doorknob is a big brad. So there you go, magnet. But the magnet needed to be covered and have its 3 elements, and so that's the reason why I have it with the Stride chewing gum. So I did get to use up my stash. And there she is. I hope you enjoy this, girl. You have been on here a long time. If you went through the whole thing with me, wahoo, you might want to put on there in the comment, I made it through, Big Mama. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and that if you're interested in this, little girl, please let me know in the comments, and I'll get a hold of you. And after I tell you how much it's going to cost, you might want to go to the bank and get a loan, right? Yeah. Not really, no, please. I don't, no. Oh gosh, I don't even know how to edit that out. And I'm into this 43 minutes. There's no way you guys are going to want me to edit it out. I was joking about the money. I'm not motivated by money. Bye.